this is Sierra and welcome to another video. Today we're reading chapter 25 of Hermitcraft Freedom. As you can probably tell from the title, this is a continuation of a Minecraft-inspired fan-made universe where I put Minecraft YouTubers in a universe and see where it goes. People that I watch typically are the ones that are referenced here. But of course, in the universe, if you watch somebody else, then they're not included in this universe. Probably out there somewhere. I just don't know about them, or don't know enough about them to know where they put them. Yeah, just going with the flow, telling stories, and this storyline has moved on to hermits because that is my current obsession. I will admit it. First the middle of the world. And now Hermitcraft. Yeah. Let's begin. Everything hurt. Grian groaned as he tried to find a comfortable position on the cot on the not at all comfortable table. Excuse me. A place that wouldn't rub against his burned sores. No matter how much he fidgeted, there was not much he could do about it. He hadn't slept all that well at all the previous night, lying on his back, staring up at the cobblestone ceiling above him. Not much has changed. At least it's been a little while since Carnival, Rob, and RJ paid him and Liam a visit. Grian turned his head, just about seeing Liam leaning against the wall, quietly keeping an eye on the closed cell door. Quite a bit of noise happened in the hallway earlier, and Grian couldn't blame Liam for being wary, seeing as he was locked in that small cage, meant that even if there was trouble, there wasn't much you could do to stop it. I don't like the silence, Liam finally spoke up with a sigh. What do you think they're up to? Grian asked, his throat dry from screaming. Nothing good, obviously, the young man muttered, shaking his head. Probably waiting for Stampy to figure out we're missing and turn himself in. He wouldn't do that, would he? Grian frowned. Liam nodded. He would if he thought it was the only option he had. Grian sighed, moving his gaze back to the ceiling. I just want this to be over. Don't give up. I'm not, Grian said pointedly. I just want someone to come in and teach those googlies a lesson. Liam chuckled. I'll make sure you get a front row seat. Right? None of this makes any sense, Grian replied. Sure, they want to get their hands on Snappy. But what happens when they do? What will they do next if they get what they wanted? Liam shook his head. No one would be safe. No one is safe. Not a YouTuber, not hybrid, not even humans. We'll find out a way to stop them. I know it. I want to believe you, but right now I'm chained to a table. Liam let out a long sigh. I hate it too. Grian glanced at the door when he heard footsteps. Multiple pairs of footsteps, followed by the sound of clashing swords. Wait, what's going on? Liam frowned. Rescue party, I'd assume. How do they find us? Grian insisted. Follow the bots, Liam reported, getting to his feet. Hope filled the hermit as the clashing of swords continued. His eyes moved back to the door just when the door opened, revealing two soldiers just on the other side. Feeling comfortable, are we? One of the men sneered, strolling nonchalantly toward Grian's table. Grian tensed as a man loomed over him. Was this another interrogation? Were they being moved? He felt his wrists being released from the restraints as the other soldier broke through the iron bars. What are you doing? Liam asked warily, his eyes looking over to where Grian was lying. The man unfastened his ankle chains from the table before pulling the hermit to his feet. Carnival wants to see you, one of the men said simply. Grian squirmed against the firm grip the soldier had on him. And our new arrivals. Now? Grian squeaked as Liam was grabbed by the arm before the other soldier pulled him close, placing a dagger at the boy's throat before heading to the door. Liam! Relax, he's not gonna hurt him. The other guard snickered. Just to make things go faster. A lump formed in Grian's throat as he was dragged out into the hallway, pressing forward against his will as he trudged along. The sound of clashing blades stopped as the hermit tried not to think about what might be going on in there. How had the men known they were in there? How many had come to rescue them? Would they be okay? Would Impulse and Sam be okay? Questions swirled around his mind as they stopped at one of the dark oak doors. The soldier shoved it open with an elbow before shoving Grian inside. The hermit gasped as he took in the room. It was large, brightly lit, with glowing white quartz walls. Chandeliers strung high up from the ceiling, glittering blue like diamonds. No, he was pretty sure they were diamonds. A shiver ran down the hermit's spine. Had the men obtained those? Did he want them to know? 'Cause, yeah, they don't typically go mining. They like to steal other people's stuff. On the other side of the room, he recognized the machine he'd seen the day before. It looked slightly different. Modified from the one before it. In front of it stood two men. Rob and Carnival. A man in a white lab coat stood by the control panel. Grian gulped. Richard. In one corner of the room, he could see a small cell with iron bars and an iron door. His eyes widened as he recognized Blake, who was inside, sitting beside False, who was just beginning to stir. False looked better than she had on arrival, but he hated to think what those men would force her to watch. Good to see you join us, Grian, Rob said with a cold smile. He gestured from one of the nearby chairs next to the machine. Why don't you have a seat? Grian squirmed against the guard, pulling him toward the hard stone seats as he was shoved down, the shackles on his feet clicking into place. What are you doing to my friends? I'll see, Rob said smugly as he nodded to the soldier, who grabbed Grian's wrists and strapped them down onto the cold surface with restraints. There wasn't much Grian could do. He was starting to feel all too familiar. Grian moved his gaze to the door at the sound of footsteps before more individuals were marched in. Grian gasped, watching as two soldiers dragged the James brothers to the cell with False and Blake, while the other three forced their prisoners on their knees. Why, hello there. Dan, Scott, and Stampy. Conover's eyes flashed as he nodded to each YouTuber. I don't believe we've formally met until now. Let's say you've done well to evade capture after all the mess you've made. We're only following orders, Dan said matter-of-factly, lifting his chin. I see. Carnival mused with a nod. I don't suppose those orders come from Rose James? We were told to take down hideouts and confiscate any tech or potions that we found there, Scott replied with a shrug. We couldn't let what was left of Mr. A's group use what they had to hurt more innocent people. Oh, but you have hurt innocent people, Carnival said with a sneer as another soldier walked in, carrying a limp form over the shoulder. Grian cried out in horror. Impulse's face was ghostly pale, bruised and sooty. There was no movement as the soldier carried his prisoner to the chair beside Grian and shoved him in. Impulse groaned in pain as the man restrained him too. Tears burned in Grian's eyes as he saw his friend's head fall back limply. Breathing shallow. While you've been saving lives, we've ensured that your actions would be punished. Liar, Sam said defiantly from the cell, standing just behind the iron bars. You tortured them if we didn't give you the information you wanted. Liam and I told you. We didn't know where Stampy was. Is that true? Conover looked over to Stampy. He was looking straight ahead, unblinking. It's true. They didn't know where I was, the cat replied, turning his attention to Conover. I didn't want to put them in danger. Rob snorted. So I'll allow it. The boys aren't hurt, Scott pointed out. Not physically, no, Rob agreed, looking over to the cell. But they had to watch these two hermits get their just due. We didn't do anything wrong, Grian said. Rob shook his head. You existed. What do you want with us? Liam demanded. Conover chuckled, glancing over at Rob. Rob crossed the room, standing over the cat. Unease held Grian as the man reached deep into the cat's satchel and picked up a communicator. You can reach her through here, yes. What? Stampy asked. You can contact her. I haven't contacted Rose. Stampy frowned. Rob snarled. Kate, you contacted Caitlin to tell her how to stop the robots. Technically, she contacted me, Scott said simply. And no, I don't know her cards. They were scrambled. I don't need it, Rob smiled. I just thought it would be fun to give her a call. Why? Dan frowned. She's just a kid. She has the strongest amount of Gerald's DNA in her veins. Richard looked up from the panel. We'll need that if we want to restore Gerald to his former glory. No. Stampy's eyes widened. You can't! You don't know how dangerous that machine can be. Oh, I think we know plenty, Rob replied, tossing the communicator aside. All we need from her is a sample of her blood. That's all. I highly doubt that, Scott shook his head. If you wanted her, you could have gotten one of the bots to get her. Gerald likes to play. I'm sure you know that well, Rob said, moving his gaze back to Stampy. The child's emotions are high, as it is, with what happened the last few days. She is worried about her friends. All I have to do is let her know that they're in trouble, and she'll come running. What makes you think she'll come? Stampy said boldly. Oh, she'll come, Rob said smoothly, as he walked away from the YouTuber and toward the hermits, stopping in front of the chair Bulls was strapped to. Leave him alone! Licks roared from the cell as Rob stepped forward and pulled out a dagger, pushing the hermit's head back further until he was looking right at him with the blade. It's a trap, Kate! It's a trap! Grian screamed as Rob whirled around to him instead. Smell cold on his face. The man approached him as Grian stopped struggling, looking up at the man moving over him, stormy gray eyes filled with amusement. Do you really think she'd listen to you? Rob knelt to the hermit's level, sliding the dagger inches over the hermit's neck. Grian sensed no wanting to move, to breathe. I can hear you. Gerald can make her see whatever he wants her to see. Your pitiful attempts aren't going to stop him. Oh, Grian sniffed, his bottom lip trembling as the man put a hand on the hermit's cheek, wiping a stray tear away. Grian clenched his jaw as he felt the cold iron blade pressing against his chin. You better hope she gets here fast, or have a mess on our hands. His gray eyes glowed with satisfaction, triumph. Grian shuddered, unable to look away. His fear swallowed him whole. And there is where we're going to stop. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This has been fun. Next one. Obviously, we're going back to Kate, unfortunately. I mean, not unfortunately. There's a very interesting perspective, but I guess it's not a popular one. But, yeah. Next week will be Kate, and then chapter 27 through 29. 9. We've got a few more weeks to go. Well, yeah, I'm just decking my time with this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Whenever that may be. Goodbye.